Welcome in, belly up, have a seat, grab a drink as we talk some Wingman fantasy football. I'm not going to lie, guys. This is take 37, and I'm getting very frustrated nonetheless. I'm your host, Michael Furley. And as always, I'd like to thank all of you, or any of you who may be watching or listening to today's show. It is Wednesday, November 26th, and this is episode 200. Gosh darn it. And we are going to provide for you the Waiver Wire Show as we're switching up some of our format for this holiday weekend here. In this show, we will begin to prepare for Week 13, and we'll start off with some player news. Take a glance at some waiver wire targets. We'll feel the rage in this week's Mike Rant, and we'll let you know who took the high score and who's on top of the current standings of the Wingman Jam contest. And we will preview our holiday games, our Thanksgiving and Black Friday games today. But before we do any of that, I'd like to make sure that everybody is in the room. Wingmen assemble! All right, guys, let's get into some player news. Starting off with some quarterback news, we have Jaden Daniels, who suffered that gruesome dislocated elbow a couple weeks back. Looks like he may be nearing a return in the next 2 or 3 weeks here. That is, I'm skeptical because I don't think they want to put him on the field to get hurt, and they're not playing for any playoff positions. Nonetheless, health-wise, he should be able to go anytime starting from this week going forward, although I don't expect him to play this week. But Jaden Daniels is nearing a return. J.J. McCarthy is in the concussion protocol. Very convenient to have an injury as an excuse to sit the struggling quarterback. But all jokes aside, if he cannot go, in Week 13, rookie Max Brosmer would get the start. Aaron Rodgers is hoping to get back on the field this week as he's dealing with that fractured left wrist. He started off this week with 2 limited sessions and trending towards a return. However, this one is going to go up to game time, I think, here. So keep an eye on the news heading into Sunday. Baker Mayfield, who left Week 12 early with a shoulder injury. It's been diagnosed as an AC joint sprain in the left shoulder. If Mayfield cannot go, Teddy Bridgewater would be the starter against the Arizona Cardinals. They're saying it's going to be a pain tolerance thing for Mayfield, so there's a chance he gets on the field, although I would not be confident that he'd be able to finish the game. But I will say this, Teddy Bridgewater looked wowshed in that last game here. I would not have any confidence in Teddy Bridgewater either. C.J. Stroud is still in the concussion protocol. It's been 22 days since his last time he's been on the field, guys. He still has some time left in this week to progress as we're still early in the week here, and they play on Sunday. However, if Stroud does miss another game, Davis Mills would get his 4th consecutive start for the Texans. And keep in mind here, Mills is 3-0 as the starter. He's not the main catalyst, but nonetheless, it's hard to take out a player who has helped be part of the turnaround for the Texans. Joe Burrow appears to be ready to make his return this Thursday night. He's logged in 2 consecutive full practices. They do play on Thursday night, so we will know by 4 o'clock later today whether or not they activate him onto the active roster. If they do not do that, he will definitely be out this week. And if they do, there's a very strong chance he's going to play. And his social medias are very strongly indicating that he will be back on the field on Thursday night. Alvin Kamara, who left Week 12 early with a knee injury, has been diagnosed with an MCL sprain. His Week 13 availability is up in the air. I don't expect him to play. And if he does not go, Devin Neal, the rookie, will get the bulk load of the carries here. Probably mix it with Taysom Hill. I think Kamara's going to miss at least 1 to 3 weeks. And honestly, just because of the circumstance with the Saints, I would not be surprised. I'm not projecting this, but I would not be surprised if he does not get back on the field at all this year as they kind of work in the rookie. They're not playing for anything, and he's already under contract, Kamara, so there's really no reason to push him here. Take a chance to look at the younger players. Ashton Genty also left last week's game late in the 4th quarter with an ankle injury. It is not considered to be severe or serious. However, if Genty is limited or unavailable to play, Raheem Mostert would be the next man up for the Raiders. Isaiah Pacheco will get back on the field. It's already been declared, guys. He will return to the Chiefs field. I don't know if he'll start or not, but he'll return for the Chiefs against Dallas on Thanksgiving Day. With that being said, I would not put him in your lineups. I would definitely want to see how this backfield is split. But he might be a decent play going into your fantasy playoffs. So hold tight, keep an eye on here, and see how this backfield is split going forward. Bucky Irving, barring any setbacks this week, is expected to make a return to the lineup for the Bucs. It's been 7 weeks since his last appearance here, and we're not sure if he's going to take over the starting role here or just be another running back in the three-headed monster split with Rashad White and Sean Tucker. Nonetheless, this is great news for the Bucs, as they're probably going to have to lean on their running game with the injury to Baker Mayfield and the ineffectiveness of Teddy Bridgewater. Amarian Hampton had his 21-day practice window opened, and he's been designated to return from the IR as they come out of the bye week. Hampton will need to be we'll see if he's going to play this week or not, but we'll know if he will be activated to the 53-man roster no later than Saturday at 4 p.m. If he's not activated by then it'll be one more week of Kamani Vidal. Nonetheless, Amarian Hampton is nearing a return within 1 to 3 weeks at the latest. Saquon Barkley was limited on Tuesday with a groin injury. He's been dealing with a groin injury. It's been multiple weeks now, but he's not missed any time with this injury. I just want to take this moment here to remind you guys, if Saquon Barkley misses any time at all, Tank Bigsby is the handcuff in this situation. I'm dying here, guys. I'm dying in this situation. Josh Jacobs, who missed week 12 with a knee contusion, has been getting in limited practices this week, trending towards a return. Keep in mind, the reason that he was kept out was the swelling and immobility of the knee here. So despite him trending towards playing this week, waking up one day and having the knee swell up is always a possibility. So do not make assumptions that he will play or not. Go ahead and check wingmanfantasyfootball.com 90 minutes prior to kickoff. So that would be 11:35 or so on Thursday to see if Josh Jacobs will be active. Nonetheless, we saw it last week. If Jacobs cannot go, Emmanuel Wilson will be the next man up, and he'll be ready to perform as well. Now for a couple receivers who catch my attention. Devontae Smith was unable to get a practice in this week on Tuesday. He missed it on Tuesday. The slender wide receiver is dealing with a shoulder injury, and don't forget here, they play on Friday. So this is kind of like a late week DNP for Devontae Smith. So this Wednesday practice report is going to be huge for our outlook here on whether he's going to play or not on Friday. I have no inclination of which way it's going to go. I'm just saying it's starting off in a bad spot, and he's going to have to improve, and he's only got a couple days to do it. And Jaden Reed had his 21-day practice window open last week, is nearing a return. Again, the Packers play on Thursday, Thanksgiving, so we'll know by 4 p.m. today whether or not he will be activated onto the 53-man roster. All right, guys, with that being said, it's time to get into this week's Waiver Wire Targets.
Wingman Fantasy Football Waiver Wire Target.
All right, guys. Let's start with our quarterback waiver wire targets for this week. No one here to break the bank for. We got Marcus Mariota, who's probably only got one more start in him, and it's against Denver. So this is not someone we're looking to play, especially with no bye weeks this week. However, if you are desperate, he will get on the field. Always has a chance for some rushing yards in a tough matchup. Shedeur Sanders will get the start once again against San Francisco this week. Another player I'm not looking to spend money on, as we don't know if he's going to be a long-term starter. But if he shows out this week and they win again, he will probably be the starter for the rest of the season. But again, this is very tenuous here for Shedeur Sanders. Max Brosmer looks like he probably will get the start this week. That's just me speculating a little bit, as there's J.J. McCarthy's in the concussion protocol and been struggling. They're probably looking for an excuse to see what the young guy can do here for the Vikings. They're playing against the Seattle Seahawks this week, so they're going to have to score to keep up. Maybe the Brosmer can unlock Justin Jefferson finally. Now for a couple quarterbacks who should have some more long-term stability here. We've got Tyrod Taylor up against Atlanta this week and Cam Ward against Jacksonville this week as well. These two guys, Cam Ward especially, should be the starter for the next 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks, if not longer. So with that being said, I'm going to prioritize these guys: Cam Ward, Tyrod Taylor, Max Brosmer for the 1 week start. then Shedeur Sanders, and then Marcus Mariota, as I think Marcus Mariota, it's hard to say, but he's got a chance to have the shortest leash here. So that's how I do it. Let's see. Ward, Taylor, Brosmer, Sanders, Mariota is how I rank these guys. I wouldn't put any fab on these guys, 1% at the most, just if you need a quarterback, but these guys are not big-time players. All right, on to the more fun position here, the running backs. We got Devin Neal. I expect him to play this week and be the main starter. I expect him to be the starter for the next 2 to 3 weeks, but New Orleans Saints are playing Miami this week. So keep that in mind here. That matchup is not quite as good as it was 5 weeks ago, as Miami seems to have shored up their defense a little bit. However, Miami is one of those teams you can't count on one way or the other. So Devin Neal might be an emergency start this week if you need it. I've got Raheem Mostert on here next against the LA Chargers. This is contingent upon the availability of Ashton Genty, and we won't know that until later in the week. Nonetheless, I like Raheem Mostert. I think he's good. The few times I've seen him get carries, he looks as he always does. He's just not getting the opportunities this year. And as an older back, I think that's probably good. He's well rested. If he has to take a big workload any 1 week, I think he'll be able to handle it for that short period of time. Keaton Mitchell is a stash, although a very emergency, sneaky flex play this week as they're playing against Cincinnati. There's a chance 2 running backs can get some work against Cincinnati this week. But nonetheless, we're really just an insurance policy for Derrick Henry, as Justice Hill will most likely be out once again. And Chris Rodriguez, if he's available, a tough matchup this week against Denver. He appears to take the lead back role, not the workhorse role, but the lead back role, and definitely the goal line role here, as he scored touchdowns in 3 of the last 4 games. So if you need these guys, that's someone you can pick up on your team who's probably going to be viable for the next 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks, pending injury. So I'm going to rate these guys here. Devin Neal, Raheem Mostert for a spot start, then Chris Rodriguez. They're kind of equal, but for different reasons. Then Keaton Mitchell as a stash. In terms of how much fab we're looking to put down, Devin Neal's between 12 and 20, maybe even up to 25% if you're desperate of your remaining fab budget. As like I said, I expect him to start 1 to 3 weeks, if not more. Raheem Mostert and these other guys are 1% at the most. You really don't need to spend any money on these guys. Devin Neal is the belle of the ball this week. All right, on to our receivers this week. We're going to start with a tight end. We got 2 tight ends getting the top of this list here. Darren Waller is returning to practice here. His 21-day practice window has been open. Not sure when he will be activated, but they are not out of the playoff hunt, are the Miami Dolphins, and they've got a decently soft schedule coming up. If they can win against New Orleans this week, they are kind of sneakily right back into the hunt here. So Darren Waller, we saw how effective he was in the 2.5 games he played prior to his injury here. So I would put him on your radar for sure. Not saying he's going to play this week, but again, he's going to be with Tyreek Hill out for the year. He's going to be the number 2 receiver on the Miami Dolphins for the rest of the season as long as he's healthy. Another tight end that catches my eye here is Brenton Strange. He is a necessary player for the Jacksonville Jaguars, and they're playing the Tennessee Titans this week. Both these guys, I think, are actually worth putting a couple percentage points of fab on. I wouldn't break the bank here. I'd probably cap it off 8 at the most, but really I'd try and stay around that 4% to 5%. If you play in a tight end league, maybe even more. These guys are tight ends. You can start Brenton Strange now going forward and Darren Waller from whatever point he is activated. So if they're tight ends, I would put 12% as a tight end, if not higher. But as a flex or a receiver, in that 5 to 4 range. We have a couple other receivers here. Chamari DK for Tennessee playing against Jacksonville Jaguars. Alec Eilmanor is still questionable this week. He missed last week. Calvin Ridley's out. DK is now the main receiver there, and he's got a record. He's on pace to break a record. I don't know if it's a rookie record or just an NFL record for most all-purpose yards. If you count his kick returns, his punt returns, and his receiving yards, he's piling up quite the bit of real estate on the field this year. He's doing quite well, and if they can channel all that positive yardage into the receiving side of the ball, he's got a chance to be a very sneaky quality fantasy playoff sleeper here for you guys, as they're going to have to throw. Tennessee's always going to be behind. They're always going to need to catch up, and he's going to be the main guy, and we know how explosive he is already just from his kickoff returns and punt returns. And Keenan Allen in a pinch, if he was dropped off the bye week, he's out there as well. They're playing Las Vegas this week. Not a big-time player, but he's maybe the older receiver just needed the bye week, and maybe he can get back to how he was early in the year for at least a couple weeks before he wears down again. So I'd rank these guys DK, Strange, Waller, then Allen. I would put anywhere between 8 to 12% on DK, and I'd put 4 to 5% on Waller and Strange, unless you're in a tight end necessary league where I'd go to that 12% for a tight end for those two players. All right, now kickers on our waiver wire targets. I got Matt Gay for San Francisco, guys. He now plays for San Francisco. And the kicker for San Francisco has been good all year as long as they make their kicks. Pinero had many games on the top stud list here. And Moody, he just missed too many kicks. He had opportunities for sure. So they're playing Cleveland this week. I think it is in Cleveland, so I don't know what the weather's going to be like. Nonetheless, here, San Francisco kicker always gets opportunities to get at least a couple field goals and a couple extra points. Cam Dicker, the kicker for LA Chargers, was dropped in a lot of leagues due to them being on bye last week. He's someone you could easily set it and forget it. If you need a kicker or you're not sure of the one you have here, honestly, I'd put a little more on him because you can put him in your lineup the rest of the year. He's a very quality player here. I'd put 4 to 5% on this kicker because that way you can set it and forget it. So he's actually pretty valuable here. And Zane Gonzalez, right now, he plays for Atlanta. He's going to play half his games inside the rest of the way here. I don't know how he's not that great of a kicker, but he's been on our stud list 2 of the last 3 weeks for Atlanta here. So nonetheless, we got guys that are inside between Cam Dicker, Zane Gonzalez, and San Francisco just has opportunities here. So I'd rank these guys. Cam Dicker by far, put 4 to 5% if you need him. Zane Gonzalez, 0 to 1%. Matt Gay, 0 to 1%. The defenses I have on my list this week are the Miami Dolphins up against the New Orleans Saints. They've got a rookie running back, a rookie quarterback. I don't trust Miami, but nonetheless, it's not an overwhelming matchup against New Orleans here. They should be able to stay in this game. If they can get their offense going, they might be in some positive situations for pass rush opportunities here. Again, these are streaming defenses, not smash plays. I got Miami versus New Orleans. I got the New York Jets versus Atlanta. Kirk Cousins sometimes can get into a death spiral in terms of sacks and cumulative interceptions. Again, this is streaming defense. I thought the Jets defense looked pretty good last week, honestly, against the New England. No, they didn't play New England. Who did they play last week? I forget. But they looked a lot better last week, I'm not going to lie. In that same vein, I got Atlanta versus the Jets. Tyrod Taylor did not take too many sacks last week, but for the course of the year, the Jets quarterback has been sacked numerous times. So that's just one of those games where both offenses have a potential to be very inept. So I got Miami, New York Jets, and Atlanta for my streaming defenses. I'd only put $1 on Miami. I'd put nothing on the other two guys. All right, guys, it's time for this week's Mike Rant.
Baby Rant. Karen Rant. Monty.
I don't care whose fault it is. I'm going to tell you exactly what I think.
Mike Rant.
All right, this is actually piggybacking off of last week's Mike Rant. I'm going to say it as cleanly as I can, as plainly as I can. Kick the effing field goals. Kick the extra points. If you're within 3 points of a team, or even down 6 or 7, and there's more than 5 minutes, well, not 5. All right, let's start over here. If you're within 3 points, either behind 3, tied, up 3, up 6, and there's 5 minutes or more left, kick the freaking field goal, man. Get it within a score. Get it tied. Take the lead. Extend the lead from 3 to 6 points. Stop going for it inside the 30-yard line. There's so much time left. The score is going to change. You're going to have to make a stop at some point anyway, and you can either make the stop with the lead already, or you make the stop where you can have the ball one more time to win at that point. Get it within a couple points so a field goal can win it. You don't have to play so cute. This happened 3 times last week. 3 times. We had the Jacksonville Jaguars go for it on 4th down when they were up by 3 points. Get up by 6, make Arizona go the whole field and score in a minute and a half. Instead, you let them only have to go 18 yards to get in field goal range. And they tied it up at the buzzer to go overtime. And you were only in that situation because the other team missed a kick. Take advantage of their mistakes. Push the lead. No matter how big the lead is, push it. Get it bigger. And this happened again for the Dallas Cowboys. They were tied. They were down 21-0. They finally tied it. They go down the field, a chance to take their first lead of the game with about 5 minutes to go. And they go for it and don't get it. Take the lead, guys. They're giving you the points. Take the lead. It's like Moneyball. They sacrifice, take the out. They're giving you outs. They're giving you the lead. Take it. And both those teams ended up winning, which means they don't learn their lessons because they get lucky in the end. But we had another one hit. Pittsburgh Steelers could have gone for the tie in the last minutes of their game. At about the 45-yard line. Would have been a long kick, yes, but it was 4th and 6. Mason Rudolph's not going to complete that. And even if he does, there's a chance you're still kicking the field goal only 6 yards closer, as he's probably going to miss the next 3 plays. Kick the ball. Tie the game. Get it within 3 points. Push 3 points to 6 points. Take the 3-point lead. And then with the same vein here, kick the extra point, guys. If there's more time than 6 minutes left, who cares if it's a perfect 7-point differential here? There's going to be 3 more scores in the game. And by you missing a 2-point conversion, and now they kick a field goal, you're down 9 instead of 8. Just kick the extra point. Kick the field goal. Don't play the math until it's necessary, until there's 5 minutes or less. Just kick the ball. Make the points. Take the points. All right. I sound like very old school conservative here saying, don't go for it on 4th down, but we've seen so many mistakes, and because both teams are making the same mistake equally, they're not getting punished by it. But I swear these teams that are winning by 3 points at the buzzer could be up by 9 points with 4 minutes to go, kneeling the ball out. Just take the freaking points. Okay. That's going to stick with me for a while just because it's so frustrating. Nonetheless, now it is time to see who's on top, or who had the high score last week in our Wingman Jam, and who's on top of the newest standings of our Wingman Jam. So let's get into it. Let's look at last week's Wingman Jam totals.
Wingman Fantasy Football.
Wingman Jam with Bernie the Bounty Hunter and Amazing Spidey. Boom shakalaka. New England Patriots. New Orleans Saints. Will the Saints go marching, or will this be over in a minute, man? All right, Bernie went with the New England Patriots, May and Henderson. I went with the Saints, Kamara and Olave. Let's take a look at the scores. Oh, this was awful. 14 points to 27.5. This is embarrassing. How low can you go? Those scores are embarrassing. Somebody's got to win. Bernie takes this one. Team B wins. All right. Once again, we were not the only 2 players. We had another another audience member join us, Andrew F. once again, and he too had a dud of a game. He took the Carolina Panthers. Rico Dowdle and Bryce Young combining for 21.6 points. So the updated standings after 2 weeks of Phase 4. For the second straight week, Bernie took first place. In the second straight week, Andrew took second place. And for the second straight week, I took last place. So our standings are Bernie's on top with 8 points, Andrew with 6, myself with 4, and Ken still has 1 from his roll over. We got 1 more week of Phase 4 here, and the winner of Phase 4 will join Andrew in the Showcase Showdown in week 14. All right, guys, now it's time to take a look at our game previews for this holiday weekend. Our first game on the docket is the Green Bay Packers at the Detroit Lions. This one's a Thursday game, Thanksgiving, Turkey Day at 1 p.m. Eastern. The over-under is 49 points. Detroit is favored at home by 2.5. This one's going to be close here. I don't know. I put question marks. I don't know who to pick here. My initial thought was Green Bay think they're going to take it, but Detroit does pretty good lately on these Thanksgiving Day games. They've been a wrecking crew the last 3 years. So honestly, I don't know, guys. I'll just say I'm going to take the this one's tough. I'm going to take the under here. I could see the Packers doing a ball control here, as Jordan Love's been very underperforming in terms of fantasy anyway. So I'm going to leave this one out here. You guys, I'm going to ask you in the comments. 49 is the over-under. Is it going to be over-under this game? Detroit's favored by 2.5. Is Detroit going to cover? Are they going to win? I don't know. I'm not strong enough in my opinion to take this one. Like I said, I think Green Bay is a better team, but the Lions have the higher ceiling. So I'm really not sure which way this is going to go. It's going to come down to the defenses in this one. All right, what players do we have out there to consider playing? We got a lot of question marks on the Green Bay side here. Jordan Love coming off a dud last week. He's only really had 1.5 good games this year. They're playing inside. They're going to have to keep up, but you can't with confidence play Jordan Love at this point. I put him as a back end streamer with no one on bye this week. We do have some injuries, however, so I'm going to put him in that 12 range. I'd be looking for other options. Josh Jacobs, it's all about the health. If he's active, you're going to play him, no doubt about it. Same thing on the other side of that coin. Emmanuel Wilson, if Jacobs is active, you can't play Wilson. I mean, you can. I wouldn't play Wilson, but if Jacobs is out, Wilson is the man. We just saw him do it last week, although I don't expect 2 touchdowns from Wilson if he's the main back. Now we got 5 receivers to worry about here, which makes this means you can't play any of them. You got Christian Watson, Romeo Doubs, Matthew Golden, who missed last week, Dontavian Wicks, and Jaden Reed might be back this week. What do we do? Honestly, with that big of a room, you can't play any of them, but I will tell you the rankings that I have in case you had to decide. I would go Watson. If Reed plays, then Reed, Dobbs, Golden, Wicks. So I think Watson's the one you could play as he's been the most consistent since coming back from his injury. Reed is a dart throw. I think he's their best receiver, although we're not sure how he's going to handle coming off of an injury. And Dobbs is their most steady guy here. And Wicks and Golden seem that they'll be lucky if they get 1 or 2 big plays. So again, Watson, Reed, Doubs, and I'm really trying to avoid all of them except maybe Watson. Musgrave, the tight end here, has not really filled the shoes of Tucker Kraft since he's been injured in and out, so I'm not looking to play him in any kind of role, be it flex or tight end. The Green Bay defense came off their best fantasy game last week at 16.25 points. This one's going to be a tougher matchup, however, against Detroit. I'd be looking for other options. They might be able to mute the offense from Detroit here, but I don't think they're going to dominate here and get a ton of sacks or turnovers. They're playable as they're a very good defense, but they're not someone I'm like, there we go, we got Green Bay, let's put him in. So I'm looking for other options. As for the kicker, McManus has been sketchy at best this year. He is back in the starting lineup as they put Haversick in once he was failing, McManus, and Haversick failed again. So McManus is back to being the kicker. You could play him here again. He's just been not consistent this year in terms of his quality of play. But if you think it's going to go over, McManus is a strong play. All right, now for the other side of the ball. There's a little easier here. We got Jared Goff. Again, tough matchup here. I put him a back-end starter to flex line here. He's probably that 10-11. Definitely ahead of Love. Let's put it that way. But again, not an automatic start. But you could definitely – I would start him. You could start him. Don't worry. I would not go out of my way to look for somebody else, but I would definitely see if there are other options out there, especially on your own team. There's no one on the waiver wire that's going to help. Let's put it that way. If you have Goff and no one else, I would just roll with Goff. Jahmyr Gibbs off a huge game last year, the highest scoring fantasy game of the year, at least in our league, at 49.9 points. You're going to ride with Jahmyr Gibbs until you die. He's one of the best running backs in the league, and he's showing it over and over again with these high ceiling games. Amon-Ra St. Brown, he lives for these types of games. He is going to be the main guy here. He's in your lineup. David Montgomery has actually been pretty disappointing lately. It's been many, many weeks where he's not really getting the shared workload here. I consider him a back-end flex at this point. He's not an RB2 at all. You can play him, but I would not automatically play him. Jameson Williams having his 3rd goose this year. What is happening here? He is a hit or miss. It depends what you need this week and what kind of matchup you have in your fantasy lineup. The bad thing is his score is going to sit with you for 5 days. If you see his goose there, it's going to be painful to watch. Although, honestly, I anticipate him bouncing back and having a pretty good game this week. I would play Jameson Williams. This is a gut feeling, not a confidence feeling in terms of what he's been showing you, as he's been 20 points or 0 points. But I'm going with Jameson Williams. I'm putting him back in the lineup this week as well, especially if you put him in your lineup last week. You don't want to play him on the 0 and not play him on the big game. Put him back in your lineup. Detroit defense, another defense that's not an automatic start, but you can play him. I wouldn't go out of my way to look for a streamer. Like we mentioned Miami out there, the Jets and the Falcons. I would stick with Detroit in that battle. And then we have Jake Shaken Bates. I don't remember hold on a second. I forgot the button. Jake Shaken Bates.
Shaking back!
Yeah, you're gonna play. He's one of the top 10 kickers pretty automatically here with his offense here. So all right, real quick, Love not playing. Jacobs active. We are playing. Wilson, Jacobs not active. We're playing. Watson, you can play. Pretty much avoid everybody else along the way, and you can play Green Bay defense and McManus as you would any kicker or defense. On the Detroit side, Goff is probably in your lineup unless you have big-time better options. Gibbs definitely, Amon-Ra definitely, Montgomery looking to sit. Jameson, I have faith. And Detroit defense and Jake Shaken Bates, those are defenses and kickers you would play as you normally would. All right, our second game on Thanksgiving is the Kansas City Chiefs heading into Dallas. This is a 4:30 kickoff time. That's what I have here. The over-under is a whopping 52 points. Kansas City is a road favorite at minus 3 points. Can Dallas get 2 wins against the Super Bowl contenders from in back-to-back weeks? I want to say yes, but I don't think they can. I'm going to take Kansas City. I think Kansas City is in like a blinders mode. They are super focused. I'm going to take Kansas City to win this game and cover, although I don't expect it to be over the 52 points. That's a big number. I think we saw last week Kansas City's defense is just so good right now. I think they're going to control the Dallas Cowboys offense just enough. This game is going to be like a 24-17 kind of thing, maybe 28-21. Nonetheless, it's not going to get to that 52 points, in my opinion. All right, what are we looking at here? Patrick Mahomes, definite start. He's slowing down a little bit, but definite start. Kareem Hunt, you got to ride with him. I don't care that Isaiah Pacheco's back. Kareem Hunt is still going to be their goal line back at the very least. So he's got that. His ceiling is going to be lowered with Pacheco, but I think they're going to ease Pacheco in. Hunt's got at least one more week as the main back. Rashee Rice, automatic start. Xavier Worthy, I'm looking to sit. He hasn't been very good in terms of fantasy, that is, for quite a while here. He's a back-end flex. I kind of put him in the same range as David Montgomery. He's a flex or second flex, and honestly, I'm looking for other options if I can find him. Isaiah Pacheco, I want to see it before I put him back in the lineup. Travis Kelce is an automatic start in terms of tight end, and he's a flex play as well. Let's put it this way, I'd play Kelce over Worthy and Montgomery, if that tells you what I'm thinking there. Kansas City defense, you're going to play him, and Harrison Butker, a top 10 kicker as well. Same with Bates in that instance. On the Dallas side, Dak, it's going to be a tough matchup this week. I think he's going to slow down a little bit. So it depends on your options here. I'd say he's a top 9 quarterback, I would say, at this point. So it all depends what you have. If you have no other better options, you're going to ride with him. But if you've got like 2 good quarterbacks, I would consider the other one depending on who it is. So Dak is a start. I'm excited to start, but the odds of you getting him out of your lineup are rare. All right, Javonte Williams, tough matchup this week, guys. He's probably going to be stifled. We saw Jonathan Taylor get stifled last week, so I would not expect a lot from Williams. If you're ballsy, you could sit him here. It's like sitting like Sean Tucker last week against the Rams. It's a bad matchup. If you've got other options, I would look there. He probably falls to a flex in my RB2 at the best, and then that flex range. And then if you have other options, and you're sneaky. I would look for the sit here, although he's always a good chance to get a goal line touchdown. But I don't expect a big day for Javonte Williams. CeeDee Lamb's in your lineup. George Pickens is in your lineup. Jake Ferguson is a back end tight end, not a flex. I'd put him in that 10 range to 12 in terms of tight ends. Dallas defense, you could play him, but I'm not looking to. They're not a top 10 defense for me this week. And Brandon Aubrey's always in your lineup. Our next game here is the Cincinnati Bengals playing at Baltimore on Thursday night at 8:20 p.m. The over/under on this one is a whopping 52 points as well, but Baltimore is favored by 7 points. Huge spread this time. All right, so how do I think this game is going to go? Man, the Ravens are they just been controlling things here too as well. Man, what do you guys think? This one's tough. It's just these over-unders are so high. I'm going to go under. Oh, man, I could see this going over. No, I'm going over. I'm going to go with Burning. I'm going over here. Baltimore favored by 7. That's a big number. I'm going to go Baltimore to win. I have Cincinnati covering. I think they're going to keep it close, and then they're going to fail at the end here, as Baltimore just knows how to win close games, generally speaking. All right, now for players we're looking at. Is it going to be Burrow or Flacco? I don't know if I want to play either of these guys because one's coming off an injury and one's coming off some bad games here, and the defense for Baltimore is improving, but it's almost like you have to play this Cincinnati here, especially with a Jamar Chase back. Let's see what I put. Where would I put Burrow if he was playing? I'd put him behind Mahomes, for example. Would I put him ahead of Goff? I don't think so. I think I put him behind Goff. So he's in that 9-10 range. Would I put him ahead of Dak? And those guys are back to back to back. I would say Goff, Burrow, Dak. That's how I would do it. Goff, Burrow, Dak. So Burrow is in your lineup, guys. That's what it's going to be right there. He's a number 8 for me. Yeah, you're playing that quarterback there. They're going to have to score to keep up, I think, unless Baltimore can just run the ball all over the place, which they should be able to do against the Bengals. Not going to lie, but I think they might get long runs, and even though they run the ball, they still might be short drives in terms of time of possession. All right, Chase Brown has been improving. I think he's definitely. I don't know if he's an RB2 at best, but I think he's a solid flex going forward for the rest of the season here. I think you're going to stick with Chase Brown. Don't get too excited here, but nonetheless, he's someone you're going to play. Jamar Chase, with T. Higgins being out due to that concussion, Jamar Chase is a smash play, always is, but honestly, I expect a decent day for him this week. Andre Yusuvis, he's a sneaky back end play, but I'm not looking to put him in. He had opportunities last week with Jamar Chase out and really didn't overperform. Mitch Tinsley was the one who got a lot of the crazy work at the end of that game, but that'd be a bold move to put Tinsley in. You could play Mike Gesicki as a back-end tight end. Again, I wouldn't have him rated any higher than Ferguson, for example. He's ahead of Musgrave and probably behind Ferguson, so maybe in that 11 to 14 range. Cincinnati defense really showed up in terms of NFL last week, but we're not playing Cincinnati defense on purpose. Evan McPherson, the kicker here. You can play McPherson as a kicker for the Cincinnati Bengals. All right. Now for the side of the Ravens, Lamar Jackson has back-to-back games under 9 points. He's been really struggling in terms of fantasy, but they've won both those games. What are we going to do here? I think a division game, a primetime game. I think Lamar Jackson's going to bounce back. This is going to be one of his better games this year. Derrick Henry should be awesome against Cincinnati. They were pretty good last week with Cincinnati and the run stopping against New England, but Derrick Henry's a different animal here. So you're going to play Derrick Henry. Now for the receivers, Zay Flowers, I don't trust. I say he's a wide receiver 3 or a flex. What were other flexes? Xavier Worthy and David Montgomery. I think Zay Flowers is right in that same range. I'd probably put Flowers ahead of Worthy. That's close. Yeah, he's in that same range. Zay Flowers is equal to Worthy and Montgomery, in my opinion. Mark Andrews, listen, we're playing against the Cincinnati Bengals. Hunter Henry's gone off. Colson Loveland's gone off. Mason Taylor's had a touchdown. These guys give up tons and tons of points to the tight end position. Mark Andrews is a smash play. He might be tight end number 1, and he should actually be a flex 2 for you at the worst this week. Get him in your lineup. Isaiah Likely has not done anything this year, but if he's going to do it, it's going to be this week. I'm not looking to play him, but if he's your only tight end, I wouldn't look for a streaming tight end. He is your streaming tight end in a desperation play. Baltimore defense you can play this week, and Tyler Loop, the kicker, has been fine as well. So real quick, Burrow's in. Chase Brown's in. Jamar Chase is in. Yosevis and Tinsley out. Gesicki back end. Cincinnati defense not playing. McPherson you can. Lamar Jackson bounce back. Derrick Henry smash. Zay Flowers secondary flex. Mark Andrews smash. Isaiah sneaky streaming tight end. Baltimore defense yes. Tyler Loop yes. And our Friday game is the Chicago Bears against the Philadelphia Eagles at 3 p.m. So don't forget to check your lineups. We're going to forget about this start time here. The over-under is kind of low at 44.5. Philadelphia is favored by 7 points. I don't trust Philadelphia. I don't trust the Bears, but I'm going with the home team. I'm going to take Philadelphia to win and cover. If they don't cover this game, I'm out. This is their last. I've already given them so many opportunities, and I've already been burned, but I'm going to give them one more Philadelphia, or you're going to be my rant next week. You almost were my rant this week. So it's your last chance here. 44.5. We'll go with the over here. That's low enough. Philadelphia is going to win and cover the 7 points. You can do it. All right, what players are we playing here for the Chicago Bears? Caleb Williams here. Let's see. He's in that Goff range. I put him behind Goff. I put him behind. Probably put him ahead. Oh, that's a tough matchup too against Philadelphia. I put him behind Dak. Put him behind Goff. Put him ahead of Love. Let's put it that way. All right, so he's 11, 12, 13, depending on how many guys you got there. Is Caleb Williams. The running backs, DeAndre Swift had a tough go last week, and they're playing against Philadelphia. He's one of those guys, like I said before, with what player did I say was a sneaky sit? Javonte Williams. Very similar there. He falls from an RB2 down to a flex 2, and I'll be looking for other options if you want to be a bold player and sit him. I think you could honestly get away from him. Kyle Monunga, I'd actually be more likely to play than Swift because of his touchdown upside. Swift has a higher ceiling in yards and touchdown, but being that this game is going to be the running game is going to be stifled, it's going to take a touchdown to be a valuable running back, and I think Monunga has a stronger chance of getting one touchdown than Swift does, in my opinion. So Swift is a back-end flex looking to sit. Monunga is a back-end flex that you could play. Now for the receivers, DJ Moore, Rome Odunze. Again, tough matchup. Although we saw George Pickens and CeeDee Lamb go off. CeeDee Lamb would have gone way more off. He would have caught some more catches with his dropsies here. So you can play both of them. I would not expect him to do George Pickens and CeeDee Lamb numbers. But I would put him in your wide receiver 3 spot for both of them. You can play both those guys. Colston Loveland, on the other hand, I would not play. And in terms of the defense, Chicago defense, I'm looking for other options, although, defenses are kind of whatever. And then the kicker here, we've got Cairo Santos has been really good all year long. Unless there's any severe weather that I'm not aware of, I would not be looking to go out of my way to sit Santos, as he's been pretty good all year. All right, now the other side of the ball, Jalen Hurts, you're going to play him. Saquon Barkley's been struggling, but you're going to play him. Unless he sits is the only way I would play Tank Bigsby. Bigsby is not an option unless Saquon Barkley is out. Now for the receivers. Oh my. You can play him or not. They're going to disappoint. We got A.J. Brown, and we mentioned Devontae Smith. At the moment is not practicing. We'll see how that goes. I don't know if that helps having one of them out to have the other guy do better. I would say this. If Devontae Smith is out, Dallas Goedert becomes someone you can play. He usually steps up when one of those receivers is out. A.J. Brown, you got to play. Just grit your teeth and deal with it. Devontae Smith, you don't have to play. He's a wide receiver 3 at best, in my opinion. And if he's banged up, I'd probably be looking for other options. Goddard is contingent upon, you can play Goddard no matter what, but if Devontae Smith is out, Goddard's in as a tight end. And then the Philly defense, you can play in this one for sure. And then Jake Elliott is also a play. All right, guys, I was going to do more games, but being that this is, like I said, take 37, I'm going to stop right here. We'll try and get a couple more shows out during the week with all these games. I'm going to try and preview all the games, hopefully with Bernie, so we have a little more banter, obviously. So I want to thank you guys for joining me. We're going to try a different format. We're going to use this holiday weekend to try and try some new things since the timing's going to be off anyway. With that being said, thank you so much for joining me, guys. If you want to find our audio feeds, go to your favorite podcasting platforms. Just search Wingman the League, and we'll come to the top of your search. Hey, while you're there, leave a comment, leave a 5-star review, and hit the follow button. That'd be much appreciated. If you want to see our show, we have our YouTube channel at wingmanfantasyfootball.com/YouTube or youtube.com/@wingmanfantasyfootball. When you head over there, guys, do me the favor, hit that like button, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and leave a comment and let us know who you think's going to win that game in the Packers-Lions game. I really can't tell, to be honest with you. All right, guys, with that being said, may your glasses be full, your mugs stay frosty. We will see you next time.